Hello and welcome to another episode of the Popcorn King. This is episode 5 now. I guess we're on episode 5 of the Popcorn King episodes, the full shows. Today we're doing a couple of movie reviews. We're going to get into a few Oscar predictions. It's going to be a really fun show. So let's just get straight into it. A complete unknown. A complete unknown is the new Timothée Chalamet movie, starring Timothée Chalamet. It's the Bob Dylan biopic, basically. It's in 1961. The unknown 19-year-old Bob Dylan arrived in New York City with his guitar and forges relationships with music icons on his meteoric rise, culminating in a groundbreaking performance that reverberates worldwide. That is the summary, the synopsis given on IMDb. It's directed by James Mangold. It's got Edward Norton in it, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. So what did I think of this film? I've got a couple of things to say. Firstly, really great film. There's been 2 really good biopics that I've seen recently. The Robbie Williams one, where he's a monkey. That's one way to do a biopic. It's kind of a very unique way. And then this is a more sort of bog standard meat and potatoes biopic. And it's just about Bob Dylan's sort of early-ish career into his sort of main, sort of famous part of his career, I guess. The performances are great. You've got to give it up to Timothée Chalamet. He hasn't been my absolute favorite actor so far. Like, a lot of people have been like saying, "Oh, he's gonna be the next big, like Leo DiCaprio. He's gonna be the next Tom Hanks, the next Daniel Day-Lewis, even." And I've watched a lot of his films, and I thought he's good, but like, where are they getting those claims from? Like, he seems just serviceable. He seems fine. Like, I've never seen him like truly strike a chord with me, if I'm honest with you, in his films. Like, he's just been good. He's been a good actor. But in this film, I think I see it a bit. It's the voice, it's the posture when he's standing on stage, like from behind. He's got that slightly hunched while he's playing guitar look that Bob Dylan has. He's got that kind of demeanor. He's really got the demeanor of Bob Dylan. He plays the arrogance of Bob Dylan really well, the mystery of Bob Dylan, the sort of, I don't know, as if he's sort of artistically above other people. I feel like Bob Dylan is a little bit like that sometimes. Like, he would even have feuds with John Lennon. Like, that's just, Bob Dylan was like that a little bit sometimes. And yeah, I think I can really see that in Timothy's performance. It's so easy to slip into an impersonation of Bob Dylan. Oh, I'm Bob Dylan. Like, it's such a strange voice, but for the most part, Timothée Chalamet, he sounds natural, but he does sound a bit like Bob Dylan. He behaves in... He does behave in sort of crazy ways, but it seems natural when Timothée Chalamet does it, if that makes any sense. He's just really good. Ed Norton is really great in this film as well. Monica Barbaro. I thought the directing of this film was wonderful, if I'm honest with you. And they're all singing and playing the instruments, and it's really great that this film was delayed due to COVID, actor strike. It was delayed a couple of times, and it really gave these actors years to learn to play their instruments. And I've heard Timothée Chalamet say this, like, wow, we might as well do it all live, and then there's no need for any artifice in this. Like, it really is that. There's no acting even needed. We're actually singing and playing. And it's like, yeah, that really works in its favor. That's what the director, James Mangold, did with Walk the Line as well, with the Johnny Cash, Joaquin Phoenix movie. This film is going to be nominated for a few Oscars. It's already been nominated for a few precursors as well, and definitely going to be Timothée Chalamet. There's a high likelihood of Monica Barbaro, a high likelihood of Ed Norton. I'm going to list my all my sort of my Oscar nominations predictions later on. But yeah, I just think this film's got quite a good shot. I think I think it's really, really well directed. Obviously, I'm a musician. I don't know why I said obviously. It's not obvious, but I am a musician, and that's what I do for a living. And so, really great to see a film about this fantastic musician, this great artist. I've always thought Bob Dylan songs were wonderful, but I always actually thought, in terms of chords and song structure, it's relatively simple. But man, when you watch it and you listen to it, you're like, nah, man, there's a high sort of level of musicianship in those simple chords that he's playing. Sure, it's not fusion jazz or anything, but it's perfect for the words that he's trying to say. And I know Bob Dylan always felt that the words and the music are equally as important, and he always wrote the words first and then came up with the music after. And yeah, I just think the music in this film is really, really great. They do great justice to Bob Dylan and his music. There is one thing I want to talk about specifically, and this is really a comment on the direction of this film, and one specific scene that I just thought, this is wonderful. Like, I was watching it and I was enjoying it, and it got to this one specific scene and I was like, oh, this is great. This is just perfect direction. A lot of people like to talk about whether this film was accurate or not, or like factual, and like this didn't really happen, and that never happened like that, and yeah, there are lots of little inaccuracies throughout this film. That's true, but this film is not a documentary. All right, like this film is a piece of art in and of itself. If you want just facts, watch a documentary. There's lots of documentaries about Bob Dylan, but this film, and what biopics should be doing anyway, is digging a little deeper than what documentaries go for. Documentaries go for those facts, and they're really great. I love documentaries, but they're finding out facts, and they're finding out those objective truths. When it comes to art, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a deeper truth, in some sense. I know people go, well, truth is the truth. What do you mean? There's a deeper truth about the human condition, about what it means to be human, that we can dig at with art. We can really, really dig at and chisel at and find deeper truths here. And that's what a good biopic really should do, because, like I say, it's not a documentary. It's not just a list of facts. It's, okay, let's get into the mind of these characters. Let's get into the world that was around them at this time, and let's find like a deeper, almost more truthful look at what these people might have been feeling at the time. We'll never know for sure. It's just an idea. And we get to this scene. So I'm going to lay the scene out for you, okay? It's Bob Dylan doing a gig in Portland. Now, there is the famous gig where everyone's booing him, and even that has lots of inaccuracies. But I'm not talking about that performance. I'm talking about the duet he does sort of the day before on stage with Monica Barbaro. So it's Timothy Chalamet, Monica Barbaro. Monica Barbaro is playing Joan Baez. Right, so Timothy Chalamet's character, Bob Dylan, he's in the past. He's had this long-running relationship with Sylvie, who's played by Elle Fanning, and he cheats on her, and he's unfaithful, and eventually their relationship sort of breaks up. But she loves him. Sylvie loves Bob Dylan, but he's cheated on her, and he cheats on her with the famous singer Joan Baez, and Joan Baez is this great folk musician herself. And anyway, Joan Baez sort of gets sick of Bob Dylan and his arrogance and his antics. And so she's in a place when we get to this scene when they're going to do this duet in Portland. We get to this point where she's kind of sick of him, right? So she knows she's going to do this duet with Bob Dylan, but she's really just sick of his antics, and she doesn't really take any shit. Like, she's not that person. She doesn't take any shit. Now, Sylvie, Bob Dylan's like ex-girlfriend, She just cares and loves about Bob Dylan so much. And Bob Dylan says, hey, come to Portland with me, come to this gig, it's going to be a great time. And Sylvie, like, he shouts at her to her window, right? She looks out her window and she thinks, she goes, okay, she's going to do it. And so she comes downstairs and gets on his bike, and they go all the way to Portland to the gig. So we're getting to this duet, right? And Bob Dylan comes on stage. Sylvie's in the wings, just looking on stage, and Joan Baez is on stage already, and she's like, welcomes Bob Dylan to the stage. And Bob Dylan comes, and you can tell immediately that Joan Baez doesn't take any shit, because she's like, just sing the fucking song to him. Like, the audience don't hear it, but she says to Bob Dylan, just sing the fucking song. And she starts playing. And Bob Dylan's like, okay, and he tunes up his guitar, gets his harmonica ready, and they're going to sing a duet together. And it's a song written by Bob Dylan, but Joan Baez starts it. And the lyrics to this song are, it's the one that is called It Ain't Me, Babe. So it's the one that starts with, away from my window at your chosen speed. I'm not the one you want, babe. I'm not the one you need. Right? Beautiful lyrics. So she starts singing it. Bob Dylan joins in, and there's this synergy. There's this chemistry. There's this connection. So even though Joan Baez is a bit sick of Bob Dylan at this moment, when they start singing, there's a connection that musicians know about this connection. Like, when music goes well, there's this moment where you don't even really need to think anymore, because you're completely on the same wavelength as your fellow musicians. And when songs go well, when music goes well, you barely even need to do anything. Like, you're just in the pocket of the song, and you basically ride the song, and it's just this beautiful connection between you and musicians, right? And so the camera is zooming in on them at this moment, and it's this really intimate song, and it's kind of sung from Monica's perspective. Monica Barbaro, Joan Baez. She's saying to him, I'm not the one you want, babe. I'm not the one you need. It ain't me, babe. She's basically saying that to Bob Dylan, right? And Bob Dylan, he comes in, he's singing along, and we kind of know what Joan Baez's sort of thoughts are here. And that's great. So the song has this meaning, has this strong meaning, and the camera's tight in on them. And then they say, it ain't me, babe, it ain't me. And Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan, starts playing the harmonica. And it's at this moment the camera goes to the wings, just off stage, and we see Sylvie, played by Elle Fanning. And she's got so much sadness in her eyes, because she's watching this performance from off stage, and she's having this realization that she'll never be able to connect with Bob Dylan in the way that Joan Baez is connecting with him right there. And even though those two sort of have this combative relationship, does Joan Baez even like him at this moment? Who knows? But even in that sort of combative moment, there's this real strong musician, almost supernatural connection between them as they sing this song in perfect harmony. And you see the sadness in Sylvie's eyes off stage as she realizes, shit, like, I'll never have that. And the song suddenly is from her perspective, right? Because the song is saying, get away from my window at your chosen speed. Bob Dylan shouted at her, and she looked out her window. And she realizes that she needs to, from her perspective, it's like, yeah, Bob Dylan, you need to stop coming to my window, leave, because it's obvious I'm not the one you want, babe. I'm not the one you need. Like, the song is also from her motherfucking perspective as well. Like, she's realizing as they're singing that song that she's not the one Bob Dylan even wants, really. She's not the one Bob Dylan needs. She's just not the right person for Bob Dylan. And she's having this realization, and she leaves, and that's so sad, right? Imagine breaking up with someone who you love because you know you're not right for them. Like, that's so sad. And this is what I mean. Like, did that happen in real life? No. Sylvie was not there at the gig. But we're digging deep into the human condition and the way that these people might have actually felt that you don't get in documentaries, but you're able to do this with artistic license. And it's this wonderfully directed scene using this beautiful song sung perfectly by Timothy Chalamet and Monica Barbaro, acted amazingly by Elle Fanning off stage, the sadness in her eyes and the realization, the lyrics, everything is absolutely perfect. And the other thing that's so important in this scene is that you feel you know exactly what Joan Baez is sort of feeling and thinking in the scene, and you also seem to know exactly what Sylvie is feeling and experiencing in this scene. And these lyrics are really representing both of their sort of feelings at this moment in time. The only person who you're not sure how he feels is Bob Dylan. He is, as always, a mystery. And that's why this film is called A Complete Unknown. And that's why that scene is fucking amazing. Right, so moving on to the next film that I saw. It was Wolfman. Wolfman is the new... Who even stars in this film? Julie Garner. Right, Julie Garner. It's the new Julie Garner film starring Julie Garner. Directed by Lee Winnell. And yeah, this is the sort of universal sort of monster university thing they've got. This is the werewolfy one. So a family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal. As the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. A wolf, apparently. So, what did I think of this film? It's quite fun. The film was fun, you know, like, was I expecting it to be as good as the director's previous film, The Invisible Man? Not really. That was like lightning in a bottle. That was a really wonderful film. And the adverts for this didn't look like it was going to be as good as that. So, you know, I had my hopes tempered. I was like, this is probably going to be quite good. And yeah, it was quite fun. A few jump scares, some good acting, just a great beginning as well. Like, there's these long shots through the sort of the scope of a gun, and it's so limited, that scope, you know, that you're just like, anything can jump out at me at any moment. So there's lots of like, I'm just waiting for the jump scare. And yeah, the acting, I would say, from the actor who has to turn into the wolf, really, really great acting, and a fun sort of crazy car crash where this car seems to crash, but somehow ends up in the top of a tree. I don't really know how that happened. A bit strange, but good car crash. I will say, there's not quite enough Wolfman in this film. Like, I don't know, like, he very slowly turns into the wolf, and that's good. Like, I like that, but it feels like he never ever sort of fully finishes the transformation, if I'm honest with you. And yeah, you don't really see it that much. So there's that bit. I will say, really creative sort of sound design. There's a moment in the film where he can hear this huge sort of like banging upstairs in this house, this terrifying house that he's in. And he goes up and he opens the door, and it's just a spider walking up the wall, but it's making this huge noise because obviously his senses are getting heightened. And that was really great. There's a bit where he can no longer understand human words, like human English words, and sort of the film will sort of be from his perspective, and it's quite like, it's like light, and the family are talking gibberish to him, and you can see they're trying to communicate, but they're just like, it's like that, and he can't understand. And then the camera will sort of spin around very slowly, and everything will dim down, and then it'll be from the family's perspective in the nighttime, and they're talking, and they can't understand him. So yeah, really, really fun, interesting, unique sort of sound ideas. I guess and this is a rule I have really for horror films and comedies. I'll forgive anything in a comedy in terms of story, in terms of acting, in terms of I'll basically forgive anything if it makes me laugh. If the comedy has me laughing, it's a thumbs up comedy for me, you know? And the same with a horror film. I don't care if the acting's that bad, if the story doesn't make any sense, if it scares me, if I get chills. That's a thumbs up horror film for me. And I have to say, this film wasn't very scary at all. It was kind of fun, like I say. You know, I guess it all sort of happened a bit too quickly. It's all in like one night that this happens, just this one evening, and yeah, it happens really quickly, and yeah, it just didn't feel too scary for me, which was a shame, really. So you know that's a mark down from me, but apart from that, I will say not an awful film. You know, it wasn't like last year's fucking the one where the swimming pool would eat people. Night Swim. That was awful. But yeah, just this one was just mediocre, quite good. Might watch it again, who knows? Maybe I won't. But Wolfman, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. I'd like to know your opinion. But yeah, that's just what it was. Okay, we've come to the time in the show where I'm going to do my Oscar predictions. These are the nomination predictions. We've had a load of precursors now. So we've had the Golden Globes, right? We've already had the nominations for the Actors Guilds, the Directors Guild, the Writers Guilds, the BAFTAs, the British one. So we're getting like a real good idea of the films that are likely to be nominated in the Oscars, because a lot of the same people in these guilds vote in the Oscars. So obviously the Oscars is a huge body of people though, so surprises can always happen. But I have my predictions, and we're going to start with picture. So the number one most likely film to be nominated for an Oscar, in my opinion, is Anora. I just feel like everybody loves this film. I just think that it's getting nominated in all the right places all the time. Did it win anything at the Golden Globes? No. But the Golden Globes don't really matter that much, you know? And yeah, I just feel this general buzz for the film, and quite rightly so. Like it's such a wonderfully acted film, hilariously funny, beautiful film. So that's my number one most likely to be nominated. Number two, Emilia Perez. I do feel like the discourse around this film is kind of mixed, and there's a bit of backlash on this film, if I'm honest with you. And I didn't even really like this film. So I do think, even though it's getting nominated in all the right places, I do think eventually that backlash is going to catch up with it, and I'm not sure it's going to win everything that it gets nominated for, if I'm honest with you. So I do think it's slipping slowly but surely. But that's my number two. Number three, The Brutalist. I haven't seen it, but just from how it's being nominated everywhere, it's got to be in the list. Number four, we got Conclave. Great film, totally the type of film that the Academy would like. You know, just a good drama, lots of great dialogue and great acting. Now, my number five is not one that the Academy would normally like, but I think it's just had such a tremendous run, and I think it's gaining momentum, and that is The Substance. That was like my number two movie of last year. I thought this movie was excellent, and you know, Demi Moore is really sort of gaining a lot of, I think, industry love, and I just think that film is doing so well. So that's my number five now, and that's not the sort of film. It's a body horror, gross out movie, you know, and it's not the sort of film that the Oscars usually go for. But I think this could be the year. Number six, I've chosen Wicked. I just think it's a little bit undeniable. A little bit. Like, It's just done so well. It's made so much money. So many people have seen this film, right? And that's always important. Like, enough people have to actually see the film to vote for it. And I think both Wicked and my number 7 film, Dune 2, have that in its favor. A lot of people saw Dune 2. A lot of people love Dune 2. A lot of people thought it was the best film of like the year. So yeah, that's my number 7. Number 8, I have A Complete Unknown. I just think the Academy loved Timothée Chalamet. When James Mangold does films for the awards, he usually gets them nominated, like Walk the Line and the racing film he did recently. Now, number 9 and 10, this is where it gets kind of tricky, because I think all those ones that I just mentioned, I think all of those are pretty much set in stone. But 9 and 10 is where it gets tricky. So for me, in my opinion, going by what's been nominated in these precursors, I'm personally going for A Real Pain. So the Jesse Eisenberg film with Kieran Culkin, the comedy about the tour around Poland and the sort of concentration camps. I just think the film is really well written. I think people are loving Kieran Culkin's performance. And I do think he's going to be nominated, and I think he's probably going to win. And it's really rare for an actor to win an Oscar if their film isn't even nominated for Best Picture. That's so rare. So I just think, I really do think that A Real Pain is going to end up being nominated for that reason. And in my number 10, maybe I'm crazy. A lot of people will say Nickel Boys. A lot of people might even say Sing Sing. I just think neither of those two have had as many nominations as this next film. And I'm not saying this next film has had nominations in Best Picture necessarily, but so many acting nominations. So similar to my theory with A Real Pain, I've gone with The Apprentice. Maybe I'm crazy. Like, it's probably going to be Nickel Boys. It might even be Sing Sing. I think Sing Sing is a little bit subdued. I think Nickel Boys maybe just hasn't quite got enough nominations previously. So I think The Apprentice could be it. The Donald Trump film, you know, and yeah, well, I guess we're gonna see. But yeah, the nominations are coming out soon. But that's what I'm thinking for the best films. I'm gonna go into my directors as well. A lot of the same films, obviously, because if the film's nominated, the person who makes the film should get nominated. So a lot of the same films, but my number 1 pick is actually Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. I just think his momentum has grown and grown and grown. I think everybody seems to really rate him as a director. I do believe that he made the film really cheaply, and it looks like extravagantly sort of expensive. So that's wonderful. Like, if a director can do that and take you back into a different time period, great. I think Honora is number 2, directed by Sean Baker. I just think the way that he works with his actors is going to be something that the Academy really, really relate to. I think the third one to get nominated for the director will be Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez. I don't like that film. I really don't like that film. But I guess a lot of people do. But yeah, like I say, a lot of backlash. So I don't know, but that at the moment is my number 3. Coralie Fargiate, or however you say her name. She's the director of The Substance. And yeah, I do think they're going to want to have a female director on there, and I think that's the film for it. So that's exciting. I'll be very, very happy if she gets nominated for Best Director. And then number 5, I've got Edward Berger for Conclave. Again, really well directed. When a film is as riveting as Conclave, but it's just old men talking, then you know it's been directed well. Like, it's directed almost like an action film, even though it's just old men in rooms talking. It's thrilling. The film is thrilling, and that's all down to the directing. Um, like, it would be great if Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, but I really don't think that's going to happen. John M. Chu, I just don't think that's going to happen either for Wicked. So yeah, those are who I've got for directing. I am going to go into the acting categories next. So for Best Actress, number one, I've got Mikey Madison. But I'm split. Like, I'm so close. I go back and forth a lot. Mikey Madsen or Demi Moore. Demi Moore has won the Golden Globe. She's winning more, and she's got a great storyline behind her. The industry love her. She's paid her dues in Hollywood, so to speak. And Mikey Madsen is brand new, but Mikey Madsen's performance is out of this world. But so is Demi Moore. So I find it so hard to choose. I'm going Mikey Madsen. Just because I think the film is a tiny bit better. Demi Moore is my number 2 pick for The Substance. Now, number 3, I've actually got Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Again, I think Wicked is a little bit undeniable at the moment, and she is such a strong part of that. That film made so much money, so many people adore that film, that I think they're just going to want to give it its flowers. And they're going to give Cynthia Erivo. Obviously, Emilia Perez has its main actor, Carla Sofia Gascon, a trans woman. She kind of plays a man in the first sort of quarter of the film, and then turns into a woman. And what can I say? That performance is good. That's probably the only good part of that film, in my personal opinion. So that's really exciting. I hope she does get nominated. That would be awesome. And then finally, Fernanda Torres, I've actually got as my number 5 for I'm Still Here. Yes, I'm not sure I'm Still Here is getting nominated too much in the Oscars, apart from maybe 1 or 2 categories, but I just think she's doing surprisingly well. A lot of people are thinking Pamela Anderson, Angelina Jolie, Nicole Kidman, and I think they've all done really well in their respective films, like Angelina Jolie in Maria, Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl, Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl. But yeah, I'm not feeling their momentum. Fernanda Torres, I think, has some momentum here, and I think a lot of people are overlooking her, if I'm honest with you. So that's why I've got her down. Now I'm going to move on to the Best Actor. For me, even though I haven't seen the film, I think everybody is talking about Adrian Brody as just this tour de force performance. So in The Brutalist. So I'm really excited to see that film. It comes out this week in England, so I'm going to watch it. But yeah, I think Adrian Brody is the number 1 most likely to get nominated. And number 2, Timothée Chalamet for Bob Dylan. I thought he was great in that film. The industry loved Timothée Chalamet, and he's just getting all this recognition in all the awards voting bodies and stuff. So I just think that's a definite. Ralph Fiennes in Conclave, I think, is also a definite. I think he's outstanding in the film. Gravitas, he commands the screen. And number 4, I do have Coleman Domingo. I think that's likely to be maybe the only nomination. There might be 2 nominations for Sing Sing. I just think A24, the production company, just really screwed over this film. They really didn't care for it that much because they barely released the film. It's barely been released. Like they really botched its sort of campaign, if I'm honest with you. I don't think they care about it. So if it does get nominated, it's just pure love of the acting, really. Like, that's all that it will be, because I don't think the studio gives a shit about campaigning it for the wins, because they're all focused on The Brutalist. So I do think Coleman Domingo stands a great chance, because he was one of the best performances of the year. I will say, though, in my own little critique of him, when watching that film, I've watched it a couple of times now, all the other actors are actual convicts, like people who've been in prison. And he's like a Hollywood actor, right? For me personally, I can tell the difference between the people who are real and the people who are acting. And I think Coleman Domingo's acting and the others are real. And to me, it stands out a tiny little bit. I'm sorry, it does. But yeah, I just think I do think he's just loved enough though to be nominated. So that's my number 4. At number 5, I have, and I'm not sure if other people are going for this. I think a lot of other people might go for Daniel Craig. I'm going for Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Again, I do think The Apprentice is being a tiny bit overlooked here because I just think it's getting nominated in so many other places that I just feel like people in the industry actually are watching this film and actually are enjoying the performances, enjoying the film. So yeah, that's what I think about Best Actor. I'm going to quickly go through Supporting Actress and Supporting Actor. So, Supporting Actress, I think number 1, we've got Ariana Grande for Wicked. Yes, it is a blockbustery performance. It's over the top. It's a bit silly, but she does it so well, and there are nuances in her performance that I think actors will see. There are definitely subtleties and nuances which I think are wonderful. At number 2, I've got Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. It's strange because both Ariana Grande and Zoe Saldana are basically leads in their films as well. There's a bit of, fraud going on here, category fraud, because I don't know why they're both down as supporting, but they are. That's what it is. It is what it is. What it is. What it is. I've got at number 3 Isabel Rossellini, and she's from Conclave. She's the only woman in that film, and so she just really just stands out. Like she gives the film something that the film desperately needs, because she really is like the only woman in the film, and she's great in the film as well. Number 4, I've personally got Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. I think the industry... Oh, there's a fly in front of me! Okay, got it. Sorry, fly. I think the industry are really enjoying this film. She does a great job. Worthy performance. And then finally, I think number 5, for me personally, I do think The Substance is going to get one more. So I think Margaret Qualley. I do believe it. Maybe I'm going to be wrong, but I personally, I'm sticking my neck out there for Margaret Qualley because she does a great job opposite the outstanding performance from Demi Moore. She's the other half of that performance, basically. So I think she could do it. Now, maybe the most predictable category is Best Supporting Actor. Kieran Culkin, number 1. He's going to win. He's going to win. He's winning everything. Everybody loves him. There's that wonderful bit in the film that he kind of improvises. And Jesse Eisenberg, who wrote the film, is like, I wrote a very specific script. And I was like, what happens if I let him improvise? And there's a bit where he does a little bit of improv. He walks over to a lady walking in the background and he's allowed to just go comfort her, basically. And the way he does it is he goes, hey, why are you walking on your own? Are you a fucking loser or something? Like, that's his improv for comforting her. Are you a fucking loser or something? But it's said with like a comforting love. Like, it's a great bit of acting. Like, he's wonderful in the film. He never says the thing you expect him to say, but he's consistent. It's really, really great. Great performance. Number 2, I actually have Yura Borisov from Anora. I just think in a film that's so crazy, so loud, full of shouting characters with big personalities and, just these funny, farcical moments that are happening in the film, and he's this calm, understated presence, And by the end of the film, he just leaves a big impact on you. You're just like, damn, I'm going to remember that character for a long time. He leaves a big impact on you. And he does it so well. That's hard to do in a film full of big performances. Number 3, I think Guy Pearce from The Brutalist has got a good chance. My number 4 pick is Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. The same thing I've said before. I just think The Apprentice is going to get its flowers. I think it's slowly been getting these nominations here and there and everywhere, and I think it's going to get to this, and it's going to be like, boom. This is the culmination of all of that. And then number 5, I've gone back and forth a lot. Ed Norton, Stanley Tucci, but nah. Denzel Washington, nah. I think it's likely going to be Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, who in my opinion was better than Common Domingo. I think Clarence Macklin in Sing Sing is exactly kind of what I just said. He's real. He feels real in that film. Common Domingo feels like an actor performing very, very well. Common Domingo comes across as an actor who performs extremely well. Clarence Macklin comes across as real. He's great. He's wonderful. So that's what I'm going to do in terms of my Oscar nominations. They actually come out soon. I'm so excited. And then I'll do videos on who I think is going to win. I just think this is a great year. In my personal opinion, I think it's a really good year and an exciting year. That's not just like all these films. Like the only person sweeping at the moment is Kieran Culkin, in my opinion. Everything else is a little bit up in the air. So we're going to see. We'll see who's right. Hopefully I got a lot of those right. Tell me your predictions. I'd love to know who you think is going to win and who you think is deserving of a nomination. But yeah, until then, guys, have a popcorny day.